When you're standing in the middle of your living room, headphones on, wondering whether an electronic drum kit will actually let you practice without waking the whole house, that hesitation is real. It's easy to imagine a sleek set of pads that sound great in a demo video, yet feels clunky when you try to play a full-blown rock groove. I've spent the last few weeks setting up the Alesis Strata Prime in a modest apartment, swapping out different headphones, tweaking the module, and watching how it holds up after daily jam sessions. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the biggest question most newcomers have is whether a kit this size can truly replace an acoustic set for serious practice. The Strata Prime comes with a 10-piece configuration, and the most noticeable difference is the dual-zone mesh heads. The snare and toms have 2 sensing zones each, so you get that subtle distinction between rim shot and center strike that many entry-level electronic kits miss. In my own practice, that extra sensitivity made ghost notes on the snare feel less like a synthetic tap and more like the natural rebound you'd get from a wood shell. It's a small detail, but after an hour of playing it becomes the line between a good enough feel and a genuinely engaging practice session. The kick drum is a 20-inch unit that even supports double bass pedals. For anyone who's tried to cram a 22-inch acoustic bass drum into a bedroom, the size of this pad is a relief. It sits low enough to keep your legs comfortable, yet it still responds to the extra pedal without any noticeable lag. I ran a quick 180 BPM double bass pattern for 30 minutes straight, and the module didn't miss a beat. That kind of consistency matters if you're training for metal or just want to keep your timing tight while you're working on foot technique. Now, let's talk about the cymbals because that's where a lot of kits stumble. The Strata Prime uses Alesis' 360 arc cymbals, an 18-inch ride and 2 16-inch crashes, each triple-zoned. What that means in practice is you can strike near the edge for a bright crash tone, or you can choke the center for a darker, more controlled sound. When I was laying down a blues shuffle and wanted a subtle ride splash, the 360 arc ride gave me that nuanced wash without having to manually edit the module. In a live stream jam with a friend, the cymbal response held up even when we were both hitting accents simultaneously. That kind of responsiveness is something you usually only see in higher-priced professional kits. One area where the Strata Prime really shines is its content library. The Prime module runs on a multi-core processor and houses over 40 gigabytes of drum sounds, including authentic Zildjian cymbal samples. There are 75 preset kits ranging from jazz to EDM, and you can layer your own custom kits on top. I spent a few evenings mixing a funk kit with a bit of electronic percussion, and the module let me assign a separate sample to the hi-hats closed and open positions without any noticeable latency. For a home musician who likes to experiment across genres, that flexibility is worth the price tag alone. Speaking of the hi-hat, the design is an active magnetic stand rather than a simple pad. It sits on a mount that lets the pedal move freely, and the sensor picks up the precise angle of each opening. In a typical practice scenario, you might open the hat just a hair for a shuffle groove. The Strata Prime registers that nuance, giving you a more realistic feel than the allure-nothing hi-hats you see on cheaper kits. When I practiced a reggae offbeat pattern, the subtle half-open sound blended seamlessly with the snare and kick, keeping the groove tight. But no kit is without trade-offs. One practical limitation I ran into was the need for a solid power source. The module draws a decent amount of current, so plugging it into a cheap phone charger caused occasional dropouts during longer sessions. Using the supplied power brick solved the issue, but it does add a bit of bulk to the setup if you're trying to keep the footprint minimal. Also, while the mesh heads feel great, they require periodic tension adjustments to stay perfectly level, especially if you move the kit from room to room. That's a small maintenance task, but it's worth noting if you're looking for a truly plug-and-play experience. If you're a beginner who just wants to tap a few beats while watching YouTube tutorials, you might find the sheer amount of customization overwhelming at first. The module's menu system is feature-rich, and digging through 75 kits to find the right sound can feel like a mini learning curve. However, the included starter kit preset is a well-balanced acoustic-style kit that works out of the box, so you can start playing immediately and explore deeper settings as you get more comfortable. On the other end of the spectrum, professional drummers who need ultra-low latency and the ability to load third-party sample libraries might still prefer a flagship model that offers 24-bit/96 kHz audio and more expansive I/O.